one, and...
Hello everybody and welcome to Against the Fence. This is your latest UFC news with that real fan opinion, and this is of course the place to be if you're obsessed and passionate about the UFC. Now tonight we're going to be talking about some rumours that are circulating around the interwebs. Some sources are claiming that a fight between Gilbert Burns and Khamzat Chimaev is in the works at the moment. Nothing's confirmed. The source of this news did come from a Swedish outlet, funnily enough, called Frontkick.online, and they basically said last night that talks are ongoing for Khamzat Chimaev versus Gilbert Burns, according to sources. Not done, but likely to get booked. The plan seems to be January rather than December, but again, nothing signed or set in stone as of now, and it's developing basically. So interesting thoughts, really. It's a bit of a jump up for Khamzat, who's currently in sort of rank number 10 at the moment. Gilbert Burns, I believe, is in number 2 at the moment. So it's an insane jump. Gilbert Burns is quite thirsty. We've seen various things on social media. He wants a fight. He's quite desperate for a fight. But he actually spoke to MMA Junkie, funnily enough, quite recent, and he said, "I never say no for a fight. I still believe Khamzat has got to do a little bit more work, but I'm still open to fighting any one of these guys." So, you know, he wants to get back in there, and of course we know what Chimaev's like. The guy likes a quick turnaround. January's the date that's apparently being slated rather than December. Now, it's quite funnily enough because as this news was coming out from Low Kick MMA, both Chimaev and Nate Diaz have been sort of sending cryptic tweets to each other, putting in a potential fight between those guys. So let us know which one you'd prefer. I'm going to be telling you guys what I think I want to see out of the two options. But the tweets that were put out via the first one was Nate. I think it was quite early hours of the morning, yesterday morning, for here in the UK, and he just basically tweeted out December. That was it. That's all we got. So it made you think, okay, he clearly wants to fight in December. That's pretty obvious. But then Khamzat, hours later, tweeted himself a picture of him with a gun. If you haven't seen it, do check it out. Gun in one hand, and the caption was, "I'm coming 209," and he tagged Nate Diaz in it. So that led you to believe that perhaps Nate Diaz and Chimaev, a fight between these two, is on the verge of getting made. I'd be quite excited about it. I don't know if you guys would be. It kind of almost seems like an ideal step for Chimaev, seeing as though he's just sort of beaten Li Zhangliang, who's kind of, I think he was ranked number 10 or 11 before he beat him. So your next step, you got, Nate Diaz. He's not really in the rankings at the moment, but he's always been fighting these top echelon kind of guys. So you would kind of put him in as a potential next step. Ash saying, if he gets Burns, it's like a free ticket to title. I know he has to get through Burns, but just imagine if he does, sky is the limit. No, absolutely. That's absolutely. And we're going to get through those kind of steps in just a sec, of where we're at with this, and how things would play out if this fight does get made. So, there's a few questions that come to mind when you think about Gilbert Burns and Chimaev, about the fight being potentially made. Is which fight will earn, out of the two between Diaz and Burns, which fight would earn Chimaev the most money? Well, technically, surely it would be Nate Diaz. If you want the most money, you'd pick Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz is a bigger draw than Gilbert Burns, for sure. Despite the fact that, Gilbert has a lot of Brazilian fans, of course. He resides in the US, I believe, at the moment. But Nate Diaz is definitely the bigger draw. So money-wise, you'd pick Nate Diaz, and especially a guy who's coming off of a couple of losses as well. His last loss, he obviously lost to Leon Edwards. That was a majority of a stand-up fight. If you're Chimaev, you'd want to, of course, take the fight to the ground and do what you do best there and nullify the jiu-jitsu areas of Nate Diaz. Probably the easier fight out of the two. You'd probably agree, right? So would you get the money fight and then look at fighting Burns after that? Maybe. And then, of course, that will lead you on nicely to a title shot against Kamaru Usman. Burns has also expressed interest in a possible fight against Colby Covington as well. Seems like Colby's sort of number one in the division. That fight matches up quite well between the two of those. But, you know, like he said, he's quite easy for either fight. I want to make a shout out to Broken Native via Twitter. He did reply to one of our posts earlier, and it was kind of his thoughts. He said it should be Burns, Khamzat. No, sorry, there should have been a comma there. He said it should be Burns. Khamzat has been given easy matchups. It's time for a real test. And absolutely, I've got to agree with you, and I'm sure you guys would agree as well. We've seen Khamzat Chimaev decimate these people. We've not seen him in danger. He's made things look so easy. So, you know, we're eager to see him being tested. We want to be, we want to see him get rocked or of some kind and come back from adversity. Can he come back from adversity? You know, his style is very similar to Khabib in a lot of ways. However, Khabib didn't exactly knock out a lot of people, whereas Khamzat's showing that he can submit guys as well as knock them out in both weight classes. But, you know, and the only real time we saw Khabib under pressure was when he got clipped by Michael Johnson. So, you know, could we see... could the likes of Gilbert Burns put Khamzat under the pressure? Saeed saying hello there. We've got Ash saying, yeah, that's a better path, Diaz than Burns. Absolutely. You know, if you want to stagger it out a little bit. Sai saying, yeah, that gun comment from Chimaev shocked me, but I will say this. There's simply not enough data on the guy to determine how his next fight will go. It's either going to be fire or embarrassment. Well, I'm going to give you guys sort of my opinions on who takes it in each sort of area, as well as my overall prediction for the fight. As it stands, it's probably more than likely, judging from the rumours, you can take them from a pinch of salt if you want. It didn't come from Brett Okamoto or Ariel Helwani or any of those credible guys. We could be likely be seeing the Burns option if talks are ongoing. So let's stick with that for now then. Which fighter is better for Chimaev? As I said, you think... money-wise, Nate Diaz, right? So you'd go for Nate Diaz. That would answer your question. But which one would I prefer stylistically? I could be Gilbert Burns, right? The guy who's a lot more ahead of him in the division. You know, he's on a pedestal, holding it down. And he's got to be a couple of fights away from gaining another shot against Gilbert Burns, you know? Not Gilbert Burns, against Kamaru Usman, of course. Saeed says, happy to see you all. Great fight on the weekend. Glad Holloway got the dub. So Saeed is quite happy about this weekend. It was good to see you chime in, Saeed. We got Kajo in here as well. He said, what's good, guys? We've got Saeed also saying, Chimaev should fight Gilbert Burns. That would be a good fight. So Saeed's siding with Burns as well. Kajo, what would you rather see? Nate Diaz or Gilbert Burns next for Khamzat Chimaev? Shout out to Andre Anthony MMA. Welcome to the channel for the first time. He's from Russia. Man, we need more Russians in our channel, man. We need you guys. We need your inputs on all of these Russian cats. And maybe even help Ash pronounce some of these names because he's terrible at them. So, you know, we need more of you Russian guys for sure. So he's saying, Andre Anthony, I'm a big fan. Okay, I'm not sure what's. I'm not actually sure what Andre Anthony does personally. I'll check you out in a bit. But yeah, okay, let's go back into this then. So yeah, my perfect scenario would be for Khamzat to get that Gilbert Burns fight. I think stylistically it's a bit more intriguing. Kajo saying Diaz would get ragdolled. No one needs to see that. Absolutely. And that ties in for my reason why I'd rather see Gilbert Burns, because Gilbert Burns, I think, offers more on the ground. However, Andre Anthony MMA is going with Khamzat versus Diaz. Tell us why, man. Tell us why you prefer to see that fight, because my opinion, I think it's for sure. Gilbert Burns makes more sense. So let's go break it down then a little bit then. I'm picking the Gilbert Burns side of things. Striking edge, I think I'm technically going to give it over to Gilbert Burns. I think he just offers a little bit more. Of course, we've seen more of Gilbert Burns, so it kind of makes sense in that respect. However, you know, on the flip side, you've got Khamzat, who's knocking dudes out at middleweight, so and clearly has some kind of power, which we'll get into in just a sec. In the jiu-jitsu aspects of things, you'd obviously give it to Gilbert Burns, right? You know, he's definitely a higher rank than Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat's got insane wrestling, you know, it's Khabib level of wrestling pretty much. But can it nullify the jiu-jitsu game of Gilbert Burns? Of course. You know, I think we've seen pictures of Khamzat on Twitter wearing a white belt. But that doesn't really, you know, that doesn't express how good Khamzat is on the ground and controlling people, none really. Can Chimaev submit Burns? Oh, it's difficult, isn't it? You think about the strength of Chimaev, the fact he's been at middleweight, and the fact that Gilbert once fought at lightweight. You just gotta give the overall strength advantage to Khamzat, and I think he can deal with Gilbert down there. I really do. Top pressure has got to be top notch for Khamzat. He can't make any errors on the ground. If you're Chimaev, you got to get it to the ground. In my opinion, I don't think he has the advantage standing up against Gilbert. I really don't. Kajo saying was thinking Wonder Boy, but he's probably booked. I think he's referring to what's next for Nate Diaz. Okay, yeah, would have been good, but yeah, Bilal Muhammad's next for Wonder Boy. That's another intriguing matchup for welterweight. Ash saying Khamzat versus Diaz 1 week, then Burns week after. Mate, we could that you just never know in this game. We could very well see that. Khamzat could fight both, but we can't really. You can't really put that in now because of injuries reasons. You know, he could definitely get pieced up against Nate Diaz in December and not be medically cleared to fight Burns in January. You know, that's just the way I think it goes. But Kajo saying, I think Burns is kind of a small welterweight. Khamzat is a big one. Khamzat will overreach Burns. Yeah, you just got to think that, man. I know it's a difficult fight for both sides, you know, because Khamzat is still this anomaly we're trying to solve. But let's go back into breaking it down then, because striking edge I give to Burns, jiu-jitsu aspect I give to Burns. In the clinch, it's Khamzat, man, the bigger guy. You got to favour Khamzat in those areas. He's going to probably look to pressure Gilbert against the fence and really maybe get him down that way. That would be a decent bet. And then cardio-wise, I'd favour the lighter person cardio-wise against Gilbert Burns. Plus, we've seen Burns in... he has fought 5 rounds, hasn't he? I'm sure he's gone full 5. Okay, no, actually, no. I don't think we have. We haven't seen Gilbert Burns go the full 5, but... Where has he? Please just correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't got his record up, but I'd favour, that's my reason why I would go cardio advantage, purely because Khamzat is making that weight cut, and he did struggle with it in his last outing. He did officially make the weight though, but you know, as the fight goes at a full 5 rounds, I would favour cardio wise to Burns, but that's if it's going to be a main event. We don't really know. Power wise, it's very difficult. Burns, like I said, used to be a lightweight. Chimaev, you'd give a power advantage to Chimaev. I think he's got kind of that one punch kind of knockout. The knockout of Jeremiah shirt, man, was just insane. I mean, just that knockout alone, I got to go with Chimaev on that front, I'm afraid. So yeah, striking edge to Burns, jiu-jitsu to Burns, Chimaev clinch, cardio I'd give to Burns, and then I'd give power to Chimaev. So I'm in favour of a Burns, but my prediction, Burns for me, I think in those grappling scenarios, he's got to be looking for leg locks. I said this to our buddy Rivers on our Discord channel. Shout out to Discord if you want it. We'll pop a link at some point. You can find that, I think, on our last watch along. There's a link in the description for that. We going back and forth on this, and I sort of said, well, I can, if you Gilbert Burns, you've got to be attacking the legs. If Chimaev gets him down, of course, which you can imagine he does. But you can't let him get that sort of top pressure. You really can't. You've got to create scrambles and try and attack off your back as much as possible. But if you're pinned between the cage and the octagon canvas, that kind of typical way we've seen in the past with the likes of Khabib and Makhachev, where you've not got any room to maneuver. If it's in the middle of octagon, You'd favour Burns in those scenarios. He can attack off of his back a lot more efficiently. If it's up against the fence, it's a nightmare. But if you Burns, if you stay away from that, you could probably create the scramble, attack the leg lock. If you don't get it, that's fine. You could at least get the scramble to then get back to your feet and try and look to piece him up more on there. Let's get into some of these chats then real quick. Let's catch up with these guys. Kadri saying, I meant. Yeah, Khamzat versus Wonderboy. Okay, that would be a good fight. Yeah, of course. We've seen Burns solve the riddle of Wonderboy. Can Khamzat do it in the same sort of way? That's what he's basically saying here. So he's saying Burns being knocked out by Hooker. Oh yeah, of course, that was at lightweight. Indeed. So that kind of adds to things a little bit there. Surely if you're getting knocked out by the likes of Dan Hooker, you could very well get knocked out by Khamzat. That's a good sort of way of signing the power advantage to Khamzat in this. Ash saying, don't say that, JK. JK, massive Wonderboy fan. Yeah, I don't want to see Chimaev fight Wonderboy. I'm okay with that. The Burns loss was a struggle for me, to be honest, as well, to see. But my boy Wonderboy's coming back. It's all good. Kajo also saying, me too, Ash. But it's classic stylistically in it, so fuck it. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, either way, it's not a bad shout. But yeah, my overall prediction then, Burns could get a crafty submission on Khamzat, like I said. Having the jiu-jitsu aspects, but I'd want to favour maybe Chimaev by decision. If it's 3 rounds anyway. If we're going to get a 3-round co-main event, I'd favour Chimaev a little bit, just purely over ground control. I think it'd be majority of the overall time in the rounds. Burns will run out of time, and I'd say I'd give Chimaev a decision. That would be my prediction at the moment, as it stands. But I say, we're still yet to find out whether this fight's going to be made. I'll look at going live maybe when it does get announced, and maybe shed some more light onto it. So that's all I've got time for then, guys. Thanks for tuning in with the chat. You guys have been awesome. Before I go, though, we have got a watch along this weekend. We've got Vera versus Misha Tate this Saturday. We'll be doing a watch along, of course, as always. So do stay tuned for that. I believe the time for that one in the UK is 12 a.m. But do quote me wrong. If you haven't followed us on Twitter handle is in the corner. Follow us on Twitter, because that's the place where you're going to stay up to date with all the things that we do here at Against the Fence. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. That's all I've got time for. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.